Welcome back to the channel, guys. So last night I went out and took some photos at night with my Fuji GS645S and a roll of Portra 400. Let's talk about it. So it's been a few months since I last shot at night, and I thought it was time to get back out there, sort of sharpen up my night photography skills, because to be honest, I don't think they're very good. I think that's something I definitely need to take, something I definitely need to practice more on. I have a tendency of blowing out the highlights, which kind of annoys me. It's also been about 2 weeks since I last actually shot a roll of film, so I actually felt kind of rusty. So something I didn't mention on my original Fuji GS645S review was the fact that this camera actually does have a bulb mode. However, it's called a time mode, but it's a bit fiddly. Basically, if you hold down that button, that is the bulb mode. It's not the best design, I must say, but it is, it is possible to take long exposures with this camera. So last night was the first of a few things. It was the first time shooting medium format film at night for myself, first time shooting Portra 400 at night, and also first time shooting this Fuji GS645S at night. Given that was the case, it was kind of no surprise that some of these photos didn't come out quite as I had hoped. You can really see that. But yeah, this little button here, that's really hard to press. Actually, I used my key to press it, because you see my fingers aren't that fat, but like it was really hard to push. If I really tried hard, then I can press it, but then that obviously shakes the whole camera around. So to make sure that I was pressing it gently, I used my key to press it down. So what that does is you cock the shutter, you press that little button to open up the shutter, and then that begins the exposure, and then to end the exposure you press down on the shutter button here. Yes, a bit confusing, very different to every other camera. However, before we continue, I want to have a little heart to heart with you guys. Basically, in my last video I got a comment that kind of rubbed me up the wrong way. It wasn't a mean comment, it was just it was a very thoughtful comment, to be honest. It was well intentioned. The person felt that the video was very rushed, it wasn't informative. So they felt worried about the performance of the channel, which I was kind of taken aback by it. I know, it just kind of confused me. The comment wasn't meant to be hurtful, so if you left that comment, don't feel like you did anything wrong, don't worry about it. But it did get me thinking. It kind of got me thinking. It's kind of prompted me to ask you guys, why do you guys watch my channel? Like, do you guys come here to learn something? Do you come here because you think I provide informative sort of content, or do you guys come here to be entertained, just some relaxed, light-hearted sort of entertainment? Let me know in the comments which one that is. To be honest, I've never really seen my channel as anything other than like my scrapbook, my film photography scrapbook / journal, where I just purely document my experience sort of learning this craft, and I basically just want to share that journey with you guys. And and if it so happens to include sort of product reviews and things like that, and just little tutorials along the way, then then so be it. I would just really hate it if I ever felt that my audience expects me to produce only long form, serious, not relaxed, kind of informative, just chunks of content, expecting me to sort of slave for days on end just to produce a single video. But don't get me wrong, I do enjoy, from time to time I will make videos like that. For example, my gift of photography video, the Peter McKinnon sort of response video, that took weeks of preparation to coordinate and to do. And that was a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, I plan to continue to do those things. It's just, it's because, we're in lockdown, there's only so much I can do. But, at the same time, I just don't want people feeling upset. If I upload a video that literally took me a couple of hours to slap together, just so that I can share something that I found genuinely interesting, not necessarily because it was anything, that profound, but just because I found it interesting and I want to share. I don't know what the point of this is. I basically just want to manage expectations here. For me, guys, I just want to make videos that I enjoy watching. Every video, before I upload anything, before I even start making any video, I always ask myself, like, is this a video that I would want to watch myself? Basically, I only make videos that I would watch myself and that I know I would enjoy making. I mean, I won't lie, I don't love every single video that I've made in the past 3 months, but you know, at the same time, I'm not going to beat myself up about it, because you know, the world's been on lockdown for 3 months. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, who cares? Anyway, guys, I know it's a bit deep, a bit heavy, but I just needed to get that off my chest, because that comment actually did weigh on me for a couple of days. And you know, the last thing I would want is to be afraid of uploading something onto my channel for fear of it potentially upsetting someone. Like, no, I just don't want to do that. Okay, so yeah, last night I went for a photo walk around 11 p.m. It was very late. Really sorry about the grainy footage. I really should have brought my light with me, my video light, to film, but I did use my phone to light up some of the shots. It kind of helped, but not really. So there are a couple of spots in my neighborhood that I walk past all the time. I've taken tens of photos of them, you know, many photos of them, but I've never taken photos of them at night. I already had like a list of spots that I had in my head, so it was a very efficient night. So the first shot is of this 1970s Mercedes 300 SL. I think it's a 300 SL. This car is kind of, I don't know what it is. I feel like this car follows me around, because there are literally, I'd say, about 10 of these cars. Obviously not all belong to the same person, but there are about 10 of these cars in my neighborhood, you know, all of, you know, various colors and, you know, slightly different variations of this exact model. But there's so many of them in my neighborhood, and I have many photos of all of them, but I don't have a night photo. The first one I took was of this one. As you can see at the back of the car, there's a bit of blur there, and that is just because of, you know, as I said before, it's because I moved the camera ever so slightly when you engage that time mode button. For the first few shots, some of them are a bit blurry, and that's simply because I pressed the camera too hard, I guess. Later on in the night, I realized that I could literally just tap it and the camera didn't shake at all. Second spot, which is just around the corner from the car, is of this Triumph motorbike. I really like this motorbike. I take a picture of it basically almost every single time I walk past it, which is a lot. I don't know if this is actually a vintage bike or if it's just like a replica vintage bike, but I just really like the look of it. It's just like cream color and that really nice red accent. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I really like the way that these photos came out. You know, the colors look good, the exposure is really good, but as I've mentioned before, one of my big gripes about this camera is the fact that in low light conditions, the rangefinder patch becomes nigh on impossible to see, and this problem manifested itself tonight again, and I missed focus in the first photo of the bike. Basically, I hit focus on the tire, which is not where I wanted it. I wanted the focus to be on the headlight, which is a bit annoying. I mean, it's still usable, but annoying. The next shots are of various house facades. In this one, I just love the symmetry in the photo. I love the symmetry of the entrance, just the wood. It's very simple. It's not like, it's kind of ugly beautiful in my opinion. Kind of got these like brutalist architecture vibe. You know, some people don't like it. I actually kind of do. One of my favorite spots in London to shoot is actually at the Barbican Conservatory. If you haven't seen my XR video, that's where I shot it at. Check it out. It'd be over here, wherever it is. Yeah, I just love how the light is isolated. You know, there aren't any sort of other light sources around it. It's just one single light source, and you've got these nice little frosted glass panels. It just looks really imposing in my opinion. Just beside the door was a little neatly stacked pile of newspapers. Here in the UK, you know, they give out free newspapers all the time, and I just like the way that it was neatly stacked in the corner of that ledge, you know, and it's right next to that really bright pop of the flowers. It just looked really pleasing. After that, we walked around to the other side of the garden, so just maybe 20-30 meters down the road. And the reason why I like this particular spot is because I can fit so many really cool elements into one frame. So we've got the door, the really bright red door that has a nice geometric shadow that casts on it. You've also got that nice column that has that's got that typical Victorian typography on it with the 40 there, which I really like. And then in the foreground, sort of in the mid foreground, I guess, in front of it, you've got a really nice bright red stop sign, but that sign is sort of nestled in like this nice tree. You know, it's nestled within the leaves, and in real life the red stop sign sort of casts like a nice tinge of red on the leaves. It didn't really come through in the photo, which is kind of annoying, but it's definitely there in person. Next time I might sort of expose for the highlights, and maybe the reds would come out a bit better and not as washed out as they did in the photo. So the next spot was a little Muse lane, and that's just further down past that red door house. These two shots came out really weird. One came out really yellow and one came out really green, and that's just something that kind of happens when you develop your own stuff. But the one that came out a bit green, I thought just came out way nicer, way more pleasing to the eye. I really like how the red flowers really pop out. It just looks so nice, and was how the kids' scooters were just neatly arranged. I just thought that was, I know there's something about it that just drew my eye, because usually you see kids' toys just strewn about everywhere, but this, for some reason, the way that they were neatly arranged online just sort of caught my eye. Anyway, the last two photos, these are the last two photos of the roll. These are photos I've actually taken before in the past. So the same shot I've taken before with my Canon A1. That was actually featured in my very first night photography video, and then the other one was a laundromat shot that I've taken a shot of before with my Nikon L35AF. And if I'm being honest, I actually kind of prefer my Canon A1 that I took of this particular scene. In the Canon A1 photo, there's a really nice reflection that comes from when the road was really wet. The ground was very dry that night, so we didn't have that reflection. The laundromat one is good, I really like it, but I know it is such a cliched photo. I don't know what it is, but for some reason laundromats have this really weird appeal to film photographers. But you know, I had to take it. It was a really successful shoot, I would say, even though I haven't shot film at night for a while. If I were to do this again, of course, with this camera, I would not use my caveman-like hands to engage the time mode button, but rather just delicately tap it as I did later on that night. Probably shoot at around f11, f8, just to make sure that everything is in focus, and then I wouldn't have to really rely on guessing my focus. I would probably take better care at metering for the highlights precisely, because I always find that I have a tendency to blow out the highlights, even with the magic of Portra 400 and Fuji Pro 400H. I have in the past, I've made a bad habit of blowing out the highlights. And in terms of accounting for reciprocity failure, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not the best guy to come to in terms of reciprocity failure, because I basically just wing it. If the exposure calls for 10 seconds or more, I kind of just guess and say, let's try 30 seconds, let's see what happens. So if you really want to learn about reciprocity failure, I suggest you Google it. If you really care, if you really want to sort of get to grips with it. Anyway guys, that's the video. Bit of a long one. Hope you enjoyed that one. If you made it to the very end, you're a star, you're a legend, mate. Plenty more videos to come. If you don't know how I do things around here, I upload to the channel twice a week. That's right, twice a week. Follow me on Instagram at Zain Shoots Film. Check out my portfolio at zainmusic.com. Subscribe if you haven't already. Why haven't you? Subscribe, comment something nice down below. Share this with your mom, share this with your dad. And with all that said and done, guys, keep learning, keep shooting. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.